Our first email comes to us from Bob from Austin, Texas. Hello there. I have 2 questions I'm interested in hearing your all's opinion. Number 1, with everything that has been going on with the recent phase in the MCU, what do you credit the downward spiral to? Lack of interest? Is the general public just over the superhero genre? Lazy writing? Directors with agendas? Oversaturation with all of the shows? Number 2, with the success of Deadpool and Wolverine and previous R-rated film Logan, do you see the MCU trying to capitalize on this success with R-rated films, possibly in the Blade, Midnight Suns, Marvel Monsters side of things? And he has a bonus question too. I'll get to in a minute. To answer the first question, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with everything you mentioned. There's a lot of that attributes to it. You have there is so. If you go back to 2019, when Endgame ended, you had, everything was undone, whatever. Tony Stark died. And I should preface by saying, everything we talk about answering these questions could be spoilers. So,
yeah,
at this point. So, and I mean, even me answering this, like, I haven't seen every of these new Marvel movies. Like, I haven't seen Shang-Chi. I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't seen, there's one other one I skipped in there. There's another one I skipped.
You haven't watched a lot of the TV shows either.
The Marvels.
Yeah.
TV shows, like, I missed it. I skipped the Skrulls thing because I heard that was terrible.
Well.
I've seen enough memes of it to know what happened. And I didn't want I watched the first episode of Loki and personally didn't care for it. So I know what happened in it though. But I think a lot of it is like that gave like at least that phase of things kind of a finality. They did release after Endgame. You got that second Spider-Man movie. That was kind of a good epilogue,
right?
In many ways. And then obviously COVID hit, and we had pretty much everything was delayed for a year.
Yeah,
like WandaVision, all the stuff that they had planned for 2020 got pushed back, and then some of those projects got pushed back even further. For a while, because of COVID, they just kind of relied on these TV shows. Like WandaVision was, by all counts, excellent.
I loved it.
And then I still think they undid all the good in that with that Doctor Strange movie. And I like the Falcon and Winter Soldier show as well.
It's a great show too.
With that being said, a little heavy-handed at the end with his little speech, but it is what it is. I'm super pumped for that new. I'll say this: like, I am very excited for the new Captain America movie.
Yeah.
But with the exception that, like, it looks like it's following what a Captain America movie would be.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm excited about it. And I'm excited to see that guy finally be Captain America. So, but I do attribute a lot of it to first. I would attribute to COVID because COVID killed movie theaters for a while. I don't know if we're going to get back to. We're never going to get back to the point where every single one of these movies is coming out making $1 billion. That's not going to happen. That was kind of an anomaly. And like, also, I will always say, like, Captain Marvel, that movie was positioned in the best possible place it ever could have been. It came out between Infinity War and Endgame. You could have put any Marvel movie out between those two movies, it would have made $1 billion because everybody was waiting for Endgame.
Yeah.
How much fucking money that made. So as far as like lack of interest, yeah, a lot of people, like, I lost interest because shit got wacky. It didn't seem like there's a clear sense of direction of what we want to do. We start introducing this Kane guy, but then it just seemed like they couldn't really pick like what we're really going to do with him or not. And then obviously that's all thrown out the window because what that guy did in real life. I didn't. The other movie I remember, Ant-Man. I never watched the new Ant-Man.
No, you don't have to.
Because I just didn't care. I saw the memes of what they did to that one character, and I was like,
yeah, the MODOK. You don't have to watch
it. Yeah, like, I can't do it.
I am on the other fence of that, where I actually enjoyed Ant-Man Quantumania.
Okay.
I do agree, MODOK was horribly done, but like I thought the movie was great, and I agree with everything he's saying here.
If we're all variants now, can't we just do a better variant of MODOK in the future?
Fucking right, like, yeah. Right? There's a Hulu version of him. I'm pretty sure that's better.
Yeah, like, right. We now have a loophole where we could totally do that. But it's a multitude of things. There were directors and writers with agendas and stuff. From my understanding, a lot of those people have been let go because of the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. So, they're also course correcting, and that leads into what they're going to be doing now with the Robert Downey Jr. stuff. I mean, I don't think it's not a secret it's not a spoiler to say that he's playing Doctor Doom.
Right.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to be a whole variant thing.
Well, I was reading something where that's apparently how this is possible is supposed to be revealed in a comic book that comes out next month.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so to kind of, just to give my thoughts on like the first question, it's basically that as someone who has watched 95% of it.
I was going to say, you've seen more of it than I have.
I've seen almost all of it. I realized the other day I have not seen Black Panther 2. I don't know.
I have not either, but I don't care.
I'll watch it at some point. But it's too much. It's just It
is too much.
They did this thing a while back where they were like, we were going through all of the main characters, right? And then it was, well, let's what if we make a Guardians of the Galaxy movie? People don't know who they are. We can kind of do whatever we want. We can pick whatever version of this team we want and just kind of go forward. And it hit. And it hit big.
It hit very well, yeah.
So they're like, okay, so maybe we have some play with doing side characters for things. And I think what they did right for a lot of that was to relegate the side characters to like TV shows. Like Moon Knight gets a TV show. Probably doesn't need a movie.
Yeah.
Got a TV show. I like the show. She-Hulk doesn't need a movie. Gets a TV show. That was a misstep because it had a very clear message that I don't think hit with a lot of people. I thought the show was okay, but it
didn't they also try to do the same kind of Deadpool thing at the end?
Yes,
of She-Hulk, but just not successfully.
It was okay for what it was, but it was played off as more of a joke, and the show just as a whole kind of collapses on itself towards the end. I feel like Endgame was a thing where like we were building to it, and that could have been the end. But then they announced we're going to keep it going. We're going to do 4, 5, and 6. We'll do all these phases and stuff, but we're running out of stuff. Iron Man's dead. Captain America's gone. Black Widow's dead.
But we'll do a prequel movie with Black Widow,
and that one will be a mess because we mess up the villain. And we just they were so strong getting to a point, and then it kind of just fell off because you felt like you were just getting the same level of movie every time. There's parts of it that are okay. You generally like the people in it, but it doesn't do anything to push anything forward. And now we're building back up to, Doomsday and Secret Wars, and which is good, but we have to do this correctly to get to that point. But I also feel like when we hit Secret Wars, whatever this is going to be, which is probably going to be like the final giant face-off against Doom and whatever this is going to be, that needs to be like the end. And then it needs to start again. We have X-Men coming. Maybe you want to keep Fantastic Four as a holdover because this whole Fantastic Four thing is going to be nuts where we start in the 60s, but they're clearly going to have to come to the present day at some point to fight Doom, which is okay in a Fantastic Four world because a lot of their adventures are time travel, cosmic type shit. You can put them in 2025 and nobody's going to blink.
No.
And maybe they could be a holdover that jumps to the next phase, but it really feels like we just need to start over and recast and start over with Iron Man and start over with Captain America and tell new stories like a comic book does.
Well, and I also think that the thing that you said a while ago to me that I think is smart is once you get to the end of Secret Wars and you want to do a soft reboot. Like I think once Secret Wars is over, I think you need to at least a year, but maybe longer.
Right.
Like nothing Marvel. Still put out cartoons or whatever, but like nothing in the MCU. And I think when you do a soft reboot, like you said, I think rather than focus on the Avengers side of things, you need to reboot it by focusing on X-Men.
Right. X-Men should be the start of the new thing. And then if we do X-Men for 6-7 years, then we can bring in a new Iron Man. Then we can bring in a new Captain America.
Right.
The whole thing about, if you have read comics before, like Kyle, you and I have read a shitload of comics. Matt, I don't know how into comic books you've been in your life, but comic books they reboot and restart all the time. They tell new stories all the time. They tell stories that don't make any fucking sense all the time. The new Spider-Man stuff coming up, he's going to be working for Dr. Doom to kill a god. That is literally the next storyline in Spider-Man.
Do you know what the new iteration of Batman coming out? Absolute Batman, have you heard about this?
Yeah, it's like Marvel Ultimates where they just said, fuck it, we're going to redo everything and start
billionaire construction worker.
Yes. That's cool because it gives them the freedom. I was talking about it with our friend where it's a cool idea because it literally lets them say, you have a blank slate to start it over. And you can tell the story you want to tell, and you can tell an entirely new story that people can read and jump in on this. And they're doing the correct person to do Batman to start over. And Scott Snyder, they're like, hey, you did a great job writing this for us for all these years. Now
they did it.
Now tell what you want to tell.
That's when I jumped in. We were the funny thing is we were looking at this stuff last night because we were setting up in that upper room. The upper room that we've kind of painted and stuff is kind of like a reading room, and so we were putting all like our collection of graphic novels and stuff up and trying to decide. Like we were looking at the New 52 stuff because like I have that all like comic run in my basement with all my comics and stuff, and a lot of it's signed too because we went to how many of those conventions, but. That is when I jumped in, was when they did that reboot New 52, which is kind of like what they're doing with DC with this absolute thing now. Like, here's a new run. It's easy to jump in on if you don't know anything. And that's why I jumped in on the New 52 and looking through that, realized like we're missing 4 of the graphic novels to have the complete Batman New 52 set. So we need to pick those up. So we just have them all in graphic novel form. But again, they do this every like 10 years or so in comics where they will just reboot it all and start over again. And I don't think anybody movie-wise would really be that upset at this point, because if you look at it, when we get to 2030, it's been 20-some years since Iron Man 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
A 30-year story is enough, right?
It's
enough
okay
to run that
point.
That's basically almost, by the time that's done, that'll have been more than half of my life the MCU has existed.
Yeah.
You can take a break. You can start over. Mm-hmm. And like, it's just, Secret Wars is a perfect way to end everything. Everybody gets a send off. This is all Earth. I forget what the movie universe number is.
616 or
616 is the Marvel, is the comics one.
Okay.
I forget what
then
the movie one is.
10
I think it's like 10005 is the Fox one. Who the fuck knows anymore. But that universe's story is over. You could tell a new universe's story.
And like, and that's what they need to do. I also, another thing I'd say, like, as far as like Spider-Man goes, and we've said this before, but like, we get to this point, if we haven't done it by Secret Wars, when you reboot everything, just do Miles Morales.
Yeah.
There's other options.
Everyone would be okay with that.
Yes,
nobody's going to complain.
Yeah.
Just do it. Like,
so this leads into like the second question too, with like, obviously R-rated films have worked for them. You can tell stories that don't have to be a part of the greater universe. You want to make a Midnight Suns movie? Do it.
You do it.
Just do it by itself. And you can have a roster of whoever you want. It could be Blade and Ghost Rider, like the game did. You could have Magic and Colossus from the X-Men. You can bring in anybody you want, and have the MCU or the whatever universe stuff, and have your R-rated stuff on the side.
So Blade, as we'll mention, I mean, we could freely talk about Blade now because this movie's been out for a while. Yes. The problem I have now with the situation of Blade is like before that the Blade movie's been in development for what, 5 years now? 4 or 5 years?
A constant mess.
And a lot of it is that the guy that they picked to play Blade has to sign off on the script, and every script they've given him, he's said no because they all are trash. At this point, I don't think you can make a new Blade movie without involving Wesley Snipes because of how good he was. I would rather see one of two things when it comes to Blade. Either give me a Blade 4 and give him a proper send-off, or let him come back and pass the torch to this guy.
That's probably the safer way to do it. My worry is that I don't know that he can sustain an entire movie.
Well, he wouldn't have to if he's passing.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you want to Blade 4, I think is a mistake. I don't think he could carry an entire 2-hour movie anymore. He works.
Carry half of one.
He works in this movie because he's with Deadpool and an ensemble,
or he's with them, and give him his proper send off. But you also pass the torch to the new guy that's playing Blade, and I think people would be more accepting of that because, like I said, going into that movie, like I said, in my bingo card in my head of cameos we were going to see, he was not on it.
Not at all.
There's no fucking way that they're going to get him back. And not only did he come back, he stole the fucking movie.
Yeah,
like in many ways.
Well, that whole part of the movie stole the movie.
Steals it, but like it's just like, please do it. Like he proved time there. He can come back and slip right back into that character. So, but yeah, that would be my thing. As far as like Midnight Suns and Marvel, like, and with the bonus question here, if they decided to follow through with a Midnight Suns film, who would you want to be on the roster, and what are they going to go up against?
I think you take a lot of inspiration from that game.
Venom's in that game, right?
He is. He's a bad guy for part of it. But there's,
I don't know.
Like the good part about that game is there's a lot of people and then there's like some side stuff, like the second Ghost Rider, like the kid. There's Magic from the X-Men.
Oh god.
There's I'm trying to think of the other people, like Scarlet Witch, like people that fit into this.
I would love to see a proper Venom.
I don't think you get one.
I don't think you get it. Like, it's like I've only ever saw the first Venom movie. It's whatever. I didn't watch the second one. I'm not gonna. And in that game,
they go up against Lilith, which is perfectly fine.
Okay,
she exists within that universe. Like, you could do the old standby of like Mephisto if you wanted to.
Wolverine's in that, but again, I don't think you get Hugh Jackman to do this.
No. I think he should be done. Like, that's hot take. This is the perfect.
My hot take is I think that is fine if you're going to do anything else with him. Give him a cameo in Secret Wars, but like a scene,
right? Not
like half the movie. But then I think at that point it is time to pass the torch to somebody else. Is it going to be hard? Yes. Yeah. It's going to be as hard to see somebody else play Wolverine as it is going to be when we ever get to the point where we get a new Tony Stark. That's going to be insane.
Gonna be one hell of a job.
I don't know what actor is going to be like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know.
I feel
it's like they have an uphill battle.
Well, I feel like the MCU right now, we're back on a path where you can get people excited. You're coming off the highest movie you've had in a very long time. You're leading into another movie which the Captain America like subsection of MCU stuff has all been good. Even Civil War is a little bloated, but it's still a good like spy type thing too.
There are parts of it, that are very much a Captain America movie, and the other parts where it was very much an Avengers.
And then we're finally kicking off Fantastic Four, and everybody loves it because the internet's dad is in the movie, so that's already sold. Even though I still maintain that's a terrible casting choice, but fine.
I don't like that is the only casting in that movie.
It doesn't make any sense,
and I like Pedro.
I do too.
Pedro Pascal
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
But I think we crested, we fell back down, and Deadpool is shooting it back up. And if we can maintain the momentum and we can make this Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom thing work, then I think we're leading towards a good conclusion. So I'm optimistic.
Let me ask this: if that's what they do with Robert Downey Jr., he is a variant. He's not actually Dr. Doom. Do you think they have actually cast an actor as a real Dr. Doom?
I don't think so, because they're paying him too much money to be a fake variant of Dr. Doom.
Well, they're always going to bring him back,
unless they fucking kill him off in this next one. And Secret Wars is real Doom.
That'd be. I mean, I could see it in Secret Wars. I don't see it happening in Doomsday. So.
But I don't know. The amount of money he costs, the amount of money Russo's costs.
It's so much money.
It's wild. It's crazy to think about. It's like $200 million just to get the three of them back.
Private jet.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. We'll see how it goes. Captain America's next. That'll tell a lot of where we're going.
I think movie-wise, I think there are good things. I think TV show-wise, they got some not great stuff in the pipeline yet, because you got Agatha, that's going to be whatever, and then the other one that everybody forgets, and I think they're going to shit it out in January, like Echo, because for all intents and purposes, Echo was terrible from the little bit I saw of it, which really hurts and sucks, because you and I both love Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin.
Oh, he's amazing,
and I cannot.
Only person who could ever play him at this point.
I still have high optimism for the Daredevil show whenever we get it, because they did get rid of the crap people that were trying to make it something else and brought in people that want to make it a continuation.
Right.
So I think that'll be good. Hopefully that sticks like March, April of next year. I don't know if it's been delayed. So, but Ironheart, they have to shit that out.
I don't know how that's going to go.
I feel like that's going to go like Echo, January, all episodes one day and forgotten about. So But yeah, as far as movies go, I mean, Captain America is looking good, shockingly, for how many fucking reshoots that movie's had.
Well, it's because they've been fixing the MCU in between, so they got to keep up with it.
And the little bit that I saw of like concept art that they showed this year at Comic-Con for Fantastic Four, that's looking
it looks
good.
real good.
So, and again, the rest of that cast is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like I will say, like, I know you haven't watched The Bear, but the dude that they picked from The Bear that's playing Ben Grimm, fantastic, perfect.
Hey, the thing is a weird one because as long as he has the right attitude, he's fine.
He has the right mannerisms, so he's gonna be
as long
really
as he can
good.
say it's clobbering time, he's fine.
Oh, I'm sure that guy's been practicing.
Yeah.